It's always seemed like my life has unfolded in phases. In one phase, I'd feel lost. In another, I'd be pinned to my desk, building out my future deep in the flow state. Everything was just clicking, click, click, click. It just worked perfectly. And then in other phases, I was just going through the motions, but it was enjoyable. I truly did enjoy those times of being in a routine and being in that familiar spot where I just know what's going to happen day after day. And the weird thing is that this never really happened in high school. This only happened in college and after college when I was working on things in relation to my goals, not the goals that my teachers, parents, other friends, or anyone else wanted for me, right? That's what we do as humans. We pursue a hierarchy of goals at any given moment, whether it's extrinsically assigned by parents, teachers, schools, culture, whatever, or intrinsically assigned by pursuing our genuine curiosity. It was a matter of directing attention, right? In school, someone tells you what to learn. Someone tells you what to do. Someone tells you where you should go in life, but that is all extrinsic. It has no purpose. It has no why. There's no intrinsically driven curiosity, purpose, passion, autonomy behind it. There's no intrinsic drive. And today I want to talk about all of them, but specifically the phases of feeling lost. I've been trying to dissect this and learn about these phases because they're cyclical. It happens almost every year where I feel like I'm kind of fumbling through the dark in the unknown, trying to find just a glimpse of light, a little candle, if you will, trying to find a candle, finding one, and then kind of carrying it through the dark and just hoping that it doesn't die out before I find the next one, before I reach that next goal or figure out what that next goal is, what that next purpose is, what do I do next? And you don't know. When you're pursuing your own goals, you don't know where to go next. You're in the unknown. It's land that hasn't been discovered yet by you or other people. And that's the only way you can find the things that you want to do rather than doing what everyone else wants to do. You have to explore the unknown. Now, those phases of feeling lost were the most destructive, but they're also the most enlightening. You learn the most about yourself if you are aware, and they get better over time if you understand these phases of life. And that's what I want to talk about today, because I could only imagine what some people that are going through this phase of life the first time around, how they could be feeling, right? Because you don't know how to leverage those periods of feeling lost, when in reality, those phases are just leading into the next phase of intensity or heat. And it's like a sauna, right? You don't go into a sauna expecting it to be cold or easy or not difficult. You let it do what life does. It purifies you. It makes you more aware. It brings you into the present moment. So when you commit to pursuing your own goals and building a life that you want as opposed to a life that someone else wants for you, there are 3 drivers of progress. And you have to be engaged or conscious of these in order to use them to their maximum benefit. So there are 3 drivers of progress. There is intensity, consistency, and curiosity. And now these are cycles of life. They happen to everyone. I've talked to people, they experience the same thing, but they haven't been able to make sense of it or conceptualize it or understand it so they can use it to its maximum power. Because that's the thing. Fighting these phases or expecting them not to happen in your life is resistance. It's only going to cause suffering, and you're expecting the cyclical nature of life that has been noticed and studied for years. Push, pull, wu wei, yin yang. It's polarity. It's just how things happen, and you not being able to identify this and be calm and collected during these times is not going to help you. It's just going to cause suffering because you're fighting against what is. So the intensity phase is for building, the consistency phase is for maintaining, and the curiosity phase is for exploring. Now, these don't only happen like year after year, like think of the macro. They happen on all levels of reality in a sense, right? They happen every 10 years. Like you could have a 10-year cycle of intensity, but it's very unnoticeable at that point. 10-year cycle of intensity, you could have a 1-year cycle of intensity leading into another. Or it could be a day-to-day thing, like during my mornings, I have an intense phase of deep focused work. After that, I have a consistency phase where I'm just maintaining what I've built. And then in the afternoons, I have a curiosity phase where I am consuming information and reading books and articles and other things that I'm curious about. So we will start with curiosity, the exploration phase, exploring the unknown. And I will start with this quote. When you walk to the edge of all the light you have and take that first step into the darkness of the unknown, you must believe that one of two things will happen. There will be something solid for you to stand upon, or you will be taught to fly. The curiosity phase is dangerous. It's one that people can get trapped in for life, where in the unknown, there's infinite room for opportunity, but the people that don't accept or embrace this phase, they kind of stay 50 feet away from the edge in their little bubble of comfort. Now, the curiosity phase is tricky. It doesn't seem like you're exploring in the unknown. It feels like you're floating in space. You have no routine to ground yourself in. You have no sense of direction or clarity on where your life is going. It's like you're halfway between, I want to do this for the rest of my life, and who the fuck would do this for the rest of their life? So during this phase, we have to adopt the mindset of an explorer, right? Slashing through the jungle, trying to find that new life-changing discovery that will shoot you in a new direction in life. This phase is kind of like the real world manifestation of throwing shit at a wall and seeing what sticks. That's what you're doing. You're testing things out, you're experimenting, you're exploring, and you're seeing what sticks so you can double down on that and then shoot into a phase of intensity. So it takes a lot of practice and intuition and acceptance to navigate these phases correctly, but there are more methodical ways to go about it. So what you can do is, if you're in this phase, you're kind of lost and you just don't know what to do, you don't know you're in a curiosity phase, and I'm making you aware of it right now, there's a few steps you can take. One is write out 20 interests that you have, 20 things that you would want to dive into more. These should be aligned with your curiosity and not what someone else wants for you. Number 2, make a note of related interests. So the intersections, where these interests intersect, right? That's where you find real world utility. That's where it stops being a thought and it becomes an idea. It starts gaining practical value. So for example, if you're interested in music production and you have another interest in starting an online business, then where those two things combine is where you can actually start researching and immersing yourself in this information that will give you actionable advice to implement in the real world. It's like, how do I start learning to produce music? So you do that. Then it's like, how do I monetize, learn marketing, sales, social media growth, all of this other stuff that's for free on YouTube. Education is free, right? There's no barrier to you going and exploring your interests right now. And then number 3 and 4 is immerse yourself in information related to those interests. So study them by reading books, listen to podcasts, follow leaders in that space. Quite literally put yourself in an echo chamber of those interests, because that's in alignment with who you want to become. And you are what you consume, so you should consume in accordance with who you want to become. And then number 5 is connect the dots and understand the real world utility. We've already talked about this, but when you immerse yourself in these interests, you see people making a living with these things. Does that not spark a bit of curiosity and make you think, how can I do this too? Right? If everyone did this, we'd all end up on different areas of the world. We wouldn't end up doing all the same thing. That's one misconception that people get wrong a lot here, is you think that people have the same interests as you. They don't. Everyone's going to go off in a different direction. If everyone pursued their genuine curiosity, this is a theory of mine and of Naval's. If everyone pursued their genuine curiosity, with the technological advancements that allows us to actually do those things full time, we'd live in a self-sufficient utopia. That's what the creator economy is. If you haven't heard that term yet, I would look it up. That's where the future is moving, centralized to decentralized, corporation to individual. I would capitalize on it now, and I will be talking about that more and have been talking about it in my newsletter, link in the description, all that fun stuff. So what you're doing here, you're exploring the unknown, right? The unknown, it's a dark area on a map. You don't know what exists on the map. So by pursuing your curiosity, which is exploring the unknown, and educating yourself, you are shining a light of awareness on that map. When you educate yourself and you learn something new, it's new to you. So you didn't know it before, it was unknown, and now it's known by educating yourself. Self-education. Do it. What you're doing is shining a light on an area of the map, and so that becomes known to you, and then you push a little bit further out into the unknown. Do the same thing, push a little bit further out, and now you're on this unique path that is going to take you towards the life that you were destined to live, if you believe in all of that destiny stuff. But that's the thing, destiny, all the words we have is metaphorical for experiences. That's what destiny is. People just misinterpret it. It's a metaphor for living out the life that you were supposed to live by pursuing your genuine curiosity. And the thing is, you'll know this is the right path because your neurobiology was built for this kind of thing. Your psyche is wired. Your psyche is wired for this kind of survival, right? Not knowing what's next and finding it in that surge in dopamine that everyone is drowning themselves in from social media, as opposed to just pursuing the life they want to live and actually reaping the benefits of that and building momentum, making progress, and just living this life that nobody will ever, well, some people will experience, but most people are never going to experience because their attention is just stolen from them via the thing that's in their hand, their phone. Now, I'm not saying phones are bad. I'm saying you need to become aware of this and use your phone to move in the direction of the good dopamine and to explore your curiosity and build something that will lead to a better life. Now, I know that many of you have experienced this, especially if you're watching this channel and you're kind of interested in self-improvement, human potential, psychology, all this stuff, that pretty much everything improvement related is the flow state. The flow state, right? So after the curiosity phase, once you find that thing, once everything clicks, you start to educate yourself, you make those connections. It's called pattern recognition, it's more dopamine, but you make those connections, it launches you into a phase of intensity if you aren't distracted by these other attention suckers, right? You get launched into this phase where it's like, yes, this makes sense. Everything becomes clear. You're like, this is exactly what I need to do, right? I have a personal example where I just built out a project, right? I teach online courses, I consult people with marketing, and there was a free product that made sense just to build out because it fit the strategy to perfection. And so what I did, it's a funny story, is I lost my phone, got it stolen at a concert, and I drove home 4 hours afterwards in just complete silence, and ideas were coming to me, right? It just made sense, and I couldn't do anything about it. So immediately when I got home, I spent like 16 straight hours just tied to my computer, laser focused on just building out this product. It's called 7 Days to Genius Ideas. If you want to see it, it's in the description. I don't really mean to plug that, but that's what I did, right? I built that out immediately, and that is something that will benefit my future and the future of someone else. Now, the only way I can describe this phase, aside from what I just said, is that you and the person you want to become, they merge. You already are that person, right? There's no question that something is going to work out or not. You just do it, right? You've already experienced that. You want it, so you build it out, and you're just waiting for time to catch up until you become that next person. And so I'll finish that thought with this quote: intensity clarifies. It creates not only momentum, but also the pressure you need to feel either friction or fulfillment. And that's by Marcus Buckingham. So this building phase of intensity is where you turn curiosity into obsession. It's where you get obsessed with it. Like for me, when I was younger, I went through this curiosity phase. Hey, maybe I should start going to the gym. And then before I knew it, I'm just constantly watching fitness YouTubers all day, hitting the gym, and that became my identity. Really, I was a gym bro for a long time. But that's what this phase is for. It's for when you make that connection and you turn curiosity into obsession or passion, and then a purpose comes behind it, a strong intrinsic why, and you are working towards autonomy or personal freedom. You're building out a project, whether it's yourself, you are a project, or something online, or anything. It's a project, right? It's something that you can apply ideas to. That's what a project is. So you're building out a project that results in a higher quality of life, and that can come in the form of personal freedom, that can come in the form of a healthier, more energetic body, that can come in the form of more money, more women, whatever you want at this time, right? You pursue that, and then you realize whether you want it or not, and then you can pivot and change direction. So now, if you saw the map earlier, you know that consistency is another driver of progress. And with this whole building phase, this intensity phase, you can't do that forever. It's a very short time period because one, attention is finite, it's not infinite. Two, you can't just generate unlimited energy, right, throughout this entire time. And so what comes next is either one of two things. You build, or you are going through this phase of intensity up until a new baseline, and then the quality of life kind of starts to diminish after that. It's like I can't go any higher because I'm just like ruining myself. I'm wasting too much energy. Like I'm overreaching in a sense. And so the only other option is to try and maintain a baseline of what you built. So whether it be knowledge or a new monthly income or something of that nature, or if you don't maintain it, you're going to go back down into a phase of curiosity again, or feeling lost and not knowing what to do. And then that's when you're going to hit a new low, because the intensity is very fast up. But then if you don't maintain and try to go back up, then you're going to go straight down and you're going to experience that new low point in life. So this is the time where you have to become very aware of what you built, right? Because consistency, it's based around fundamentals, right? Habits, for example, are based around fundamentals. It's like, okay, what is the thing that is going to move the largest lever? What's the thing that's going to result in the most impact? Or what are the things that I'm currently doing that are resulting in the desired outcome that I want? So here's another practice for you. You are going to take out a journal, or you're going to take out your notes, and you're going to write down, number one, the lever moving goal-oriented tasks. So the principles, the fundamentals of that thing that will lead to the most results, right? Number two is schedule time blocks for executing on those. So you're going to put a time in your calendar, right? If you've built something that is worth maintaining, you're going to have to bake it into your day or your week or your month at some point. You need to put it on your calendar so you have a time frame in which you work specifically on maintaining that. You perform the lever moving tasks to maintain that. Number three is avoid distractions and get into a deep work routine. Now, deep work to me is for building, right? That's when I'm building something new. The consistency, the maintenance phase, it's still in a focused work block, right? So you're eliminating distractions, you're doing all of these things so you can just get it done fast, and then you don't have to worry about it the rest of your day. Number four is to do this when energy is highest, right? Now, for me, again, this is all variable and it's up for you to test, right? Don't take my word as law. Don't take anyone's word as law. You have to experience it for yourself. You can't just trust something that you haven't experienced. And so the building phase for me is when I do things when energy are highest. So that's in the morning for me. That's when I write, that's when I build things and whatever. And then as energy starts to decrease, I can go into that maintenance phase. And then when energy is the lowest, that's when I'm consuming information and kind of doing things that doesn't require a lot of attention or energy. It's kind of just, I'm having fun and not trying to overreach, so I can be recovered and rested by my next phase of intensity. And now the fifth thing you can do if you own a business is to delegate it or hire a VA to actually handle these things, so then you don't have to do anything. And then there's automation software like Zapier or Make or other things, that no-code tools that allow you to free up a lot of time. And especially if you're trying to monetize this stuff, right? That's kind of what I'm obsessed with, is monetizing the unmonetizable. That's what I've been obsessed with for the longest time, whether it be creative work or just things that people say you can't monetize. And I went and proved them wrong, because it's more than possible. And it's really because they haven't explored that section of the unknown. It was my curiosity, I pursued it, and now I am very good at marketing and sales and the digital economy, and that's what I'm dissecting for you guys. And that's what I talk about in the private community, Modern Mastery HQ. I just write out all of my systems and give them to you. Because that's the thing, once you do this stuff, you realize that the whole like corporate workflow, the 8-hour workdays, were a lie. You can't focus for 8 hours. So the people that do actually pursue their curiosity, they have a luxury that most people can't fathom and they're not aware of, right? I'm surrounded, like, this isn't to brag, this is just the way my life is. I'm surrounded by people and other creators on Twitter and Instagram. We work for 2 to 4 hours a day because we built our life in a way that allows us to do that. And people scoff at that, or are like, oh, you can't do that, and you're just closing your mind off to it. It's extremely possible. It takes some time, it takes some years, unless you learn from someone who has done it and can give you a system, a condensed information, like a zip file for your mind, right? That's what a system or a course is. It's a little zip file that you download, you read, and it uploads into your mind, and it's 10 years of experience in a day. So after this consistency phase that we're in, you've gone through the curiosity phase, and I'm talking about like the how you begin, right? Because once it gets all over the place when you're deep into it, but when you build that first thing that's like, oh yes, this is gonna make me some money, this is gonna give me a higher quality of life, then you build that and you maintain it, and then you have a choice. You can either continue to maintain that and just wait, because the cycle of life or the phase of life will inevitably come where you have to shift and make more decisions. Or you can intentionally go into a phase of curiosity or kind of bake this into your routine, right? That's what I've done over time. As I said, the mornings are for intensity, and then consistency, and then in the afternoons is exploration. So if you make conscious consumption of information a habit or a part of your routine, if you make pursuing curiosity a part of your routine, these phases become almost automatic. If you are pursuing the things that cause that excitement in your brain, the dopamine, then these like, if you bake that into your routine, then these things kind of become, these phases become automatic in a sense, because you're constantly experimenting and testing with things that could lead into a new building phase and a new consistency phase, and everything just rounds itself out. So that is it for this video. And if you enjoyed it, please leave a like, leave a comment. I've been trying to up the quality of these videos quite a bit. You should be able to notice in this one, the sound quality got a pretty big upgrade. So the thing with all of this is that these YouTube videos, I only munch on one big idea per week. This week, it was the 3 drivers of progress. And every Saturday, so before this video, last Saturday, I put out the 3 drivers of progress co-letter, which is my newsletter. So if you want my in-depth musings and writings and nothing held back on these topics that are dedicated to helping you dissect and understand the digital economy, creativity, productivity, human potential, all of that fun stuff, then check that out in the description, and you can find a few free tools and resources there, as well as the private community, Modern Mastery HQ, for people that want to build and sell things on the internet and pursue their curiosity, and everything that we talk about, all things improvement, right? And of course, before you go, don't forget to subscribe so you can get updated on these videos. And with that, I will see you in the next video.